Guys, do not watch the Pod Meets World, which is the Boy Meets World podcast. You definitely should. But this past episode, the tea, the drama, oh my goodness. So what happened was, I'm going to try to wrap this up as quick as I can. Maitland, who played Rachel, came onto the show. She had a problem. She was going to make sure they knew it. Went back and forth like, oh, do you hate us? And she's like, I feel like you hate me. And she just kind of went after Danielle, was like, listen, when I did Girl Meets World, you completely did not acknowledge me. You ignored me. And that was something that kind of Trina had mentioned as well. And she even brought up that Trina felt the same way. And Danielle was like, listen, I was going through a lot. I had told Trina the same thing. You know, the Girl Meets World set was it was just not as good as a vibe environment as the Boy Meets World set was. She was hoping it would be. We need to dive into that in another video because I've heard some other things about that too as well. From the actress who played Riley in the show. I digress. Starts going off. She says she thinks that Danielle didn't like her because she was getting all this attention that Danielle wasn't getting. Danielle was like, hold up 1 minute. I was getting magazine covers. Sit down somewhere, my girl. No, she didn't say it like that. But she was like, listen, like I was getting magazine covers. Like I was not jealous of you. And Maitland was like, well, I thought that's what it was at the time, possibly. And she was like, your podcast is always super negative. You only show the negative sides of things. You hate Ben, who of course played Corey Matthews. She's like, you hate Michael, who created the show. And that's when before they were kind of just letting her go back and forth. But that's when the boys stepped in. And Will was like, listen, I love Ben. It breaks my heart that he woke up one morning and decided he wanted nothing to do with us and never told us why. That is not for lack of trying. Like I've reached out multiple times. He will not respond back. And he's like, you know, they have problems with Michael, but like they don't hate him. And she's like, oh, well, you're just showing negative signs for a rating. They're like, didn't you write a book about your negative time? We're sharing negatives and positives. And they just was going back and forth. It was like, listen, Danielle, you unfriended me on Facebook. Like, you obviously have a problem with me. And it was just, you have to watch it. But if you like drama, if you like tea, watch the podcast, this episode. If you love Boy Meets World like I do, watch the entire podcast because you learn a lot.